Hello guys, I hope you all are doing well. In this video, we are going to discuss the complete concepts of microservices. If you watch this complete video carefully without skipping it till the end, I can assure you that you are going to understand the overall concepts of microservices. Before getting into this video, let me introduce about myself. My name is Sheikh Amir Jan. I'm an MCA graduate and I am currently working as an Java developer intern. Let me start this video before getting further delay. In order to understand about microservices, first of all we need to know what is software development service model and why we are using these service models in creating our software project or an product. Let us assume if you want to create a better software project or an product, you need to use some services. Here the service models comes into the picture. The software development service models provides us some services which will helps us in creating a better business application. Let me open my paint. Let us assume this is the application which we want to create. Let me give the name for this application. I'm giving it as my app and assume that these are all the services which are provided by service model. This is S1 and this is S2 and this one is our S3. Let us assume that we have three services for creating this business application. Now we are using this service one in our business application and service 2 and also this service 3. Now we are using these three services in our business application in creating our business application so that it we will able to achieve better outcomes. The software development service models is an architectural blueprint for structuring our application. Means the services know each and everything about our project and they know how the calls are going to interact with each other, how scalable this application is, how can the services can able to scale up if the requests come, if the load of the application is more, how they will scale down if the load of the application is low. Then the services work on those all those things. By using these services we can able to achieve a success, we can able to create a successful business application. Now let us see what is the definition which is in our PPT. Yeah, let's see. Software development service model are the architectural blueprint for structuring our application. Means this service model is acts as blueprint for structuring our application. They define how components interacts. Yeah, the services defines how the components or how the calls interact with each other, and they will the service models impact scalability. Means they will, as we have discussed previously, It will increase the scalability of the application when the load of the application is high, and it will decrease the scalability when the application receives less load, and it will make our software product flexible. And overall, this service models helps us in creating a successful business application. Now we have understand what is this software development service models. Now let's discuss what are all the service models which are used before discovery of microservices. There are there are mainly two service models which are used, mainly two service models which are widely used or widely popular before microservices. The first one is monolith architecture, and the second one is SOA. Let us discuss about monolith architecture. Monolith architecture is an traditional software service model. It is developed or it is discovered in early 1950s, and it is not discovered by a single person or a single company. It is a traditional way of creating the software projects at that time. At that time, if you want to create a software project or a product, you are going to follow. They all are going to follow this monolith architecture. In this monolith architecture, we have three layers. The first one is, let me write it here. The first one is presentation layer. TATIO. In this presentation layer, all the front end or UI related code is present in this layer. This layer is responsible for handling all the front end related code, how the page get respond to the how to the user's request, and all the front end related things are going to happen in this layer. And the second one is, let me write it, and the second one is business business layer. In this layer, all the main code, the main business related logic, and everything is written in this layer. Business logic is written in this layer. This layer is responsible. All the main code is written in this layer because it is the backend. It acts as backend. If you write all the business logic in front end, it can be visible to the outer world. If we write our business logic in front end or presentation layer, then attackers can easily able to access that code, and they can able to made manipulations or made changes according to them. So we must write our business logic in business layer. And the third layer is our DBA layer. DBA, all the data in this DBA layer, all the database related code and all the database related activities are going to happen in this DBA layer. This layer is responsible for all the database related stuff. The may Now let us understand what is the working process of monolith architecture. It- the main aim of monolith architecture is one project, one process, one port. Means one project means this all three present in this single project only. Let me draw. Let us assume this is our monolith architecture. All these three components, all these three products are present in one project. Let me write it here. Monolith. All the components are present in one project. Where is he? Monolith. Now the main goal of monolith is one project, one one process, one port. The main monolith architecture follow these steps. Means it says create all the project as a single unit, and while developing and deploying the project, and make it the complete thing in one process, and the complete project occupies one as the complete project occupies in one single port. Monolith is mainly useful in at the time of early 1950s. Uh, in early 1950s, we have limited hardwares and networking resources, so that we at the time we need a basic applications. Means when compared to present days, at the at early 1950s, there are less resources and people are using less internet. Means there is no availability of internet at the time when compared to now. In early 1950s, there are few tools and libraries when compared to now. So creating or development of software project or an product is easy. From 1950 to 1970s, they use my mainframe computers. For creating an software project or an product in mainframe computers, they use monolith architecture. From 1980 to 1990s, they use CRM system for creating client server monolith applications. This monolith architecture rules around 50 years in our software industry. In early 2000s, while while the boom of web applications, they use JER.NET frameworks. Along with that, they follows monolith architecture to create a big or better software projects or an product. Many tech giant companies like Amazon, eBay, SAP, this all e-commerce websites uses this monolith architecture before discovery of microservice architecture. Now let us discuss what are all the advantages and disadvantages of monolith architecture. It is easy to manage because the everything of the project is in a single unit. So there is no that much of complexity to manage this or to handle this. And let us discuss the advantages and disadvantages in this PPT. Advantages: simplicity. Yes, I, it is involved as a single unit, so it is simple or easy to manage, easy to debug. Yeah, we are developing a project as a single unit, so we can easy to debug. Means we can easy to find the errors or chances of getting errors, and easy to deploy because we are developing the whole project as a single unit. It is easy to deploy it when compared to if we create the project as subunits, then it is difficult to deploy at that time, because at that time we have to deploy everything as separately. So monolith architecture is simplicity, easy to debug and easy to deploy. And the disadvantages: if we want to scale up or scale down this monolith architecture, it is very difficult. And if we are using any particular language or any particular language, then we have to use that language only for the complete project. In monolith architecture, if we are trying to use the another language, then it will be difficult to write the code according to that. And it is inflexible, means it has a limited resources and limited, as everything is binded in a single unit. It is inflexible, and it is slow development cycle, because we have to take care of the everything. Every layer, means we have to create a presentation layer in a single unit, and a business layer, and also a DB layer. So we cannot able to work on this parallelly. We have to wait until the work of the previous layer gets completed. This is the overall architecture, overall about microservice architecture. Now let us discuss about microservice architecture. For that, let me open my Paint. Let us assume you are going to create this software or this business application. The microservice architecture tells us, instead of making this as a single unit, break down it into several components. Means this is one part of our business application, and this is another part, and this is another part, this is another part. Microservice architecture tells us to break down a big or a monolith application into small components, so that we can work parallelly according to that. In monolith architecture, it tells us to follow. In monolith architecture, we use single project, single process, and single port. But in microservice architecture, it will tells us to use multiple project, multiple process, multiple port. Means every means this part of our project works on individual port. This part of our project works on individual port. This part of our project works on separate port. And of this project the processes of this project is separate, and the process of this project is separate, and the process of this project is separate. In microservice architecture, if we got an error or an issue in one particular region, one particular area, then we need not to stop the complete application. This will run on its port on it will work, it will do its work, and this process also do its work, so that we can easily able to make changes in it, and we after that we can able to deploy it as single unit. In microservices we have to divide our project according to their business capabilities. If we are working on e-commerce platform, then we have to divide it in our it. If we are working on e-commerce website like Amazon, then we have to make every service for according to their business capability. Let us assume this is a service which will provides all the main necessary things. Then we have to put all the men related things into this, and this is for women like that, and this is for kids like that. We have to divide our project according related to our business capabilities, means all the related things are added in one unit. To understand completely about microservices, there are mainly 9 attributes of microservices, which are given by Henry Fowler and Henry Lewis popular the concept of microservices by writing this in their article. They are widely known for their development. They play a vital role in creating a agile model, and they have write many articles on software products or on products. To understand completely about microservices, let's look what are all the attributes. If we understand the attributes of microservices, then we can able to understand the complete concept of microservices. Now let's look what are all the attributes of microservices. Yeah, before looking the attributes of microservices, let's look this definition. Microservice architecture is a software design pattern that structures an application as a collection of loosely coupled independent deployment. As we had ex- as we had explained it previously, it is it divides a big or monolith software project into simple into pieces, means into components, means it works as several projects, several process, and several ports. Each service encapsulates a specific business capability and communicates with other service through well-defined interfaces. Means every part of this project is means it is divided to on the basis of related business logics. There are mainly 9 attributes of microservices. First one is componentization via services. It tells us how to break a business, a big or a single software project into a several units. And the second one is organize around business capabilities. It will helps us divi- it in breaking a big project into pieces, means it will help. It says that we have to break the project and ma- add the related contents as a single unit. Means if we are breaking a e-commerce website, then all the business related code is as single unit. And it also tells us that we need not to break the project on the basis of size. We need to break the project on the basis of business logic. And the third one is product. Product, not project, means the normally in software industry, projects are developed in the span of 6 months to 1 year, but products takes much more time to develop. Means we are continuously working on product. If they are, means we are keep on changing the where we are keep on changing the new features, or we have to continuously debugging the errors on the product. Means project, we need not to create a project, we need not to create a software or a business application as a project, because if many people think that they will work on this project and they will deploy it however it may be, and they don't care about it. And they many people thinks that we are not working here for permanent. Once we complete the project, then our work is done. We do not think like that. We have to work it as, we have to develop it as a product. Means once if we in future we will get any error or any modifications are needed in our project, then we can able to made modifications on that project without any problem like that. And infrastructure automation means in our microservice architecture, as everything is divided, means it has its own business logic. Means every component has its own business layer, you presentation layer, and DBA layer, so that it is difficult to push all the things. First of all, we need to develop it, we need to deploy and we need to push the code, our code in GitHub, and we need to deploy it in cloud service. This all steps takes much time, and it will delay our process, and it will delay our project development time. So that we need not to take care all of those steps. We need to use CI/CD pipelines, or we need to automate it, the works which we are going to do on the daily basis. In infrastructure automation, we are also keeping focus, we are also working on auto scalable. Normally in software projects they are using horizontal auto scale of. Means one, if the load of our application gets increased, then we have to scale up our application. Yeah, as and parallelly, if our application gets less load, we need to scale down our application. Smart end pipes, smart endpoints and dump pipes. This is the major problem. This is this is the attribute which will overcome SOA. Now we will discuss about SOA. In SOA, in service oriented architecture, soft yeah. Actually, I don't, correct me if I am wrong. In SOA, they also made their project as componentization via services, and they break their project on their business capabilities. Then they will make a bus which will, let me open my paint. They also in SOA they also break their big project into small components. Like let us assume we have six components, and then they had create a bus. This bus is used it is this bus is used to communicate these components with to communicate the components with each other. They will go through the bus. Means if this one wants to communicate with this one, then it first of all it come into the bus and request it, then bus verifies it, validate it, then bus checks whether it is a required call or not, all those things, then it will send request to this. While it is first at first it is a good concept, means this bus will provide security. After some days, while the applications getting bigger and bigger, the now people are focusing now people are writing their business logic on this bus. Means this bus, the handling of this bus is getting more complex and complex day by day. To to overcome this, we are using this smart endpoints and dump pipes. At SOA, we are writing all the logic in bus to communicate in order to communicate with each other. But in microservices, we are not at all writing any business logic in that bus or in any API. We are writing we are writing everything in the module itself or in the components is itself. Sorry. So they are fed up in SOA. They are fed up because the handling or the managing of the bus getting day by day. It is the main task. They it is the main task to handle it, and it will takes much more time to write the complete business logic in the bus itself. So they are fed up. That's why they given this name on the basis of that smart endpoints and dump pipes. Means everything logic is in the at the end of the components. Means there is no logic is written in the pipes which are connected, which are making an API call from one business logic to another business logic. Now decentralized governance. This is the one of the important thing which will makes an IT to make changes to make evolutions or to make better progress. Decentralized governance means if in India we are following one government, we are under one government. If the government brings any rule, we must have to follow that rule. If government, if yeah, let us suppose take government. If if we need to give a vote, then we must need to then our age is must 18 years and we are greater than our age must be greater than or equal to 18 years. Like that, if we are using the same governance rule in software industry, if the governance or if the governance bring any standards, then every project or every company needs to follow this. If they will modify or they will update that standards, then it is difficult to follow that. and if there is a centralized governance, then we all need to use particular technologies, particular languages, particular frameworks in every project. Then it is difficult. If But in decentralized governance, we can use any language, any framework according to the need of our business application. So decentralized governance helps our IT industry to getting a better outcome. Now, decentralized data management. As we already discussed that in microservices we have divided our project into several pieces according to their business capabilities. Now, for each component there is a there is a there is a separate database. For each component there is a separate database. If we use a centralized database, means if we use a single database for the complete whole project, then let us suppose if my employee id is 18 and my age is 23, and let us assume that if somebody is using this, and if somebody is using this in their component or in their let us assume that if there is a centralized database management, if someone is using a particular data, then the another guy who make changes in the data, it will reflect to the guy who is using the data previously. Then it is difficult to manage those things, and it will leads to, it means, inappropriate or incorrect outcomes. So we are using decentralized data management in microservices, which will helps us to keep our data securely. Evolutionary design means we have to continuously improve our design. Once we completed the project, once we completed the development of our project, we need to work what are all the improvements we can able to do on this project, and we need to experiment on that, how can we achieve better results than that. We need not to stick on the project which we developed previously. We have to work on the furthermore things. Now, design failure. Yeah, this is the main thing. If we get a failure, we must design it before. We we uh, we have to design a system on. We must have to design a system for failure also. Let us suppose if some user is using that application, then suddenly battery of the the battery of the phone of the user gets dead. Then how we need to react, how our application needs to react. Let us assume if the internet gets connection gets corrupted, then how our application need to react. We have to design the failures. What are all the failure things? Once what are all the failure chances of our application, and how we need to manage those, all those things we need to design priorly before facing it. That's all in this video. If you like this video, please give a comment. If you need to suggest me some improvements. Comment any kindly comment any suggestions so that I can improve and make better videos further in future. Thank you.